My goal is to amalgamate and expand the current player base of surfers such that content creators, top surfers, and server administrators have the potential to go full-time creating content for this game. The main strategy to achieve this is going to be creating consistent, high-quality content, facilitating events, and employing a marketing strategy that targets individuals who have already played the game. That marketing doesn't have to include like paying for advertisements. It's going to be literally the videos themselves. My vision is that the lowest cost per player possible to sustain the game mode, while simultaneously creating profit potential for aspiring creators, who then help the game mode thrive just by doing what they do best. That can be in the form of streams, although I'm really pessimistic about Twitch. So I'd really like to see lots of people starting to create YouTube content like this, and it could be way easier than the shit that I do. Like, just even recording a 5 to 10 minute thing explaining a map is a potentially really valuable piece of content. So, a little bit of background about me. In college, I took a really shitty course. I hated it. I thought it was bull. They talked about having strategies and tactics, and then this thing called a growth mindset, and like a vision of what your thing should look like. And I think some of that shit leaked into my brain because I never thought about it while I was doing this stuff. But I found that I have a goal and a vision and strategies to achieve what I want to do, even though that's just YouTube stuff. It's not ridiculously complicated. But also while I was in college, I actually stopped surfing for a little bit. I think this is my sophomore year. At the time, I was completely reliant on turbines. It was really bad. My technique was flawed, and it made me a worse surfer. I also had no mouse pad space, which was a real problem. As a consequence of this, I developed really horrible wrist issues, particularly in my right hand, where it would go numb if I surfed for anything longer than like half an hour, so I quit, and I came back at the start of COVID. I fixed these issues because at the time I actually identified them. I guess taking a break and growing up a little bit, I was like, oh, it's not because surf is hard or a bad game, it's because I'm making a serious mistake. And as a consequence, I found that the game, especially at the higher level, was simply amazing and really a lot of fun. Particularly these like tier 5 maps and above, maps that come to mind that are really good: Highlands, Cairo, Cannonball the T4 is very good, Surf 666, Epiphany. These all happen to be smooth maps, but in my opinion, they are some of the best maps in the game, despite the fact that they are so difficult. It's my opinion that this is an extremely deep and interesting game that is currently untapped, both by content creators and by players. It is also simultaneously the fairest and most brutal game ever created. It's a lot like the Dark Souls of movement shooters or of movement games, right? Every map is a boss, and it can take a lot of practice to learn how to beat them. Even for some people, certain maps will take like 10 hours, right? 10, 20, 30 hours just to beat it. And that's a sign that the game is really deep. But also, it's basically an even playing field. There's no teammates to make you lose when you don't deserve to lose. There's no lag, right? All of these things that would potentially make the game unfair aren't there. I think that makes it a really good game. There are 3 internal problems with the game that I recognize that I'm hoping to solve. The first is diaspora. We're on 3 different games, 4 if you now count Quake and Momentum Mod and all that. That makes it very hard to congregate people. It also means that we're not hitting the maximum critical mass that we could. There might be 1,000 concurrent players or more across all the games, but for example, for Roblox, it'll never get over 200, even at peak. But because we're so separated from each other and these systems aren't integrated, we just have less of a mass than we really should. Second is there's a skill issue. Skill diff, right? It's really hard to learn this game. There are amazing videos that teach people how to do it, and apparently the Momentum Mod campaign is going to be really great for that, because they're, for the first time ever, going to have an in-game tutorial for how to play. There are maps like Surf Progress, and I believe Fordham B2 that do this in part, but this is going to be dedicated to newer surfers, and I have a lot of faith in it. However, there is an enormous gap after the beginning stage of surf, so even if you learn the fundamentals, there's a problem once you hit Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5, and Tier 6, where there's not a lot of content explaining what you should be doing in this period of your surf development. So, 2 solutions to this. One is to get surfers on really good maps in each of these categories, to curate the current existing, map pool of maps being played, which is enormous. On some servers, it's over 1,000. There is no goddamn way each one of those maps is good. So, reducing that to like 200 or 300 core maps, which would be a project in itself, could potentially make the player experience that much better. And second is to give people in this tier 3 to tier 6 range vital information through tutorials and videos that tangentially teach them how to play the game while also being entertaining. The third and final problem I see with Surf currently is, in quotations, a lack of content. There are a lot of content creators for Surf already. They're uploading their runs and other people's runs, like obviously Nyassel, Crayallington, they're kings right now of creating YouTube content for Surf. And there are lots of other people that just come to mind, like Ronan was doing this for a while, Xanax, Dizrez, Rezo was creating runs from scratch and creating compilations for them, which is very cool. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a million. I want to help these individuals, so if you're listening to this, I want to help you up your game. Give the few skills that I've learned for you to create videos that might be better for your own growth, but also integrating things like your voice and script writing, because this is something that I guess have some kind of skill in, which is why I've been doing this for a little while. And what I know might be able to help you do that as well. And I've heard some interest for that from people I've talked to. So if you're interested in that, just hit me up. The biggest problem that's not internal is just the lack of growth in some areas of Surf. I did hear from someone that a certain server had 1 million unique a million unique visitors total last year. That is amazing. My question is, how are those users being converted? For example, if you were going to convert somebody to a product, but instead of converting them to VIP purchasers or private server purchasers or anything like that, how are they being converted to tier 3 surfers? How are they getting over this hump and thus accessing all the content that might keep them there for 1,000 hours or however long? Growing their skills and continuing to have fun, and even playing the most fun and important maps ever made, these tier 5, tier 6 maps. The solution is a mix of entry and insider content. So we want to expose new people to the game through entry content. I think something like the Fiverr video I made is a really good example of that. But also having content that I would actually want to watch, which is hopefully what you would want to watch. World record history videos, player profiles, covering niche technical elements like crouching is something that I'm going to have to both learn and make a video about. So as a consequence, it'll be a dual-pronged approach. Stuff for new people, stuff for old people. Hopefully converging these two communities and creating connections between those individuals. Like maybe you see somebody in the comments of one of these videos who happens to be Manana, and then Manana streams. So you're an entry-level surfer, then you see a streamer, and then you get into their chat. Last Friday was the last day of my job. I did a 1-year program working in a school, and the one thing that got me through the year was Minecraft with shaders on stream, with a bunch of surfers. Starting today, I'm going to be doing YouTube full-time, despite the fact that I'm currently very small. During this 6-month trial period, what will determine if I continue is channel growth. I need 10,000 subscribers by the launch of Momentum Mod. And this is not on you. This is my job. And so, just by being here and watching the videos and liking them, you're doing basically what's going to get me there. It's going to be all on me to create the content consistently, and it's really going to be on that entry-level content as to whether we grow. I also want to have a full campaign plugging Momentum Mod while continuing to supplement the existing servers. So CSGO servers like GFL, Go Free, Clarity, and Surf Heaven continue to properly target CSGO players. They're not just 24/7 Utopia servers that are half the game as it should really be, or maybe even a smaller fraction. Momentum Mod functions as yet another expansion point, obviously through the Steam game store, also linking us with other game modes like Jump, so we'll have cross-community integration that way. KSF will likely remain the most competitive server with the most authentic experience. So I'm going to continue to advertise it as such. I really think it is. That's my game of choice. I was thinking about what to do, like right now. I have a Discord channel with no moderator. I'm too scared to stream. I just got my foot in the door with 2 major projects, but they're on the way. I'm hoping that my next World Record History video is selected, and I'm outlining it within the next couple of weeks. This is me in post letting you know that I'm going to try to upload 4 or 5 times this week. And I'm just really fucking excited to do this shit. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun and difficult, but nonetheless will be good for everybody in the community, I think. And that's going to be the position I try to take. Instead, I'm just going to do this. When I was 12, this was my dream job. This is what I always wanted to do. I was in love with PewDiePie, the YouTuber who made Minecraft shit. I loved that game when I was a kid. But it's not just my dream now. I'm obligated to a community which exists beyond me and precedes me. It's existed before I was here. In fact, I'm pretty new in the internal community of Surf. I've surfed for a long time, but people didn't know me. I was just a mega lurker. The next year might be the most important year in surf history and in source movement generally, because it's going to be whether or not we live or die. If servers like KSF continue to not see growth or see decline, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, even though these CSGO surfers thrive. So what I'm telling you is, I'm all in. This is the only thing I want to do. I think it's a really important time period to get into it, and I invite you to join me in this journey to do that. Thank you.